guys. Keep it PG-13.
Welcome everybody to the Hooligan Sports Podcast, Quarantine Edition 5, but technically episode 13. You guys,
Episode
we got a
episode
special
Max
one
Muncy.
today. We got guests today. It's more than just us regular guys. We got people joining us. We got a whole crew of people joining us, talking
That's right.
talking no sports with us, even though we're trying to talk sports.
Remember when
Also,
sports was a thing, guys?
we got the usual guys. You already hear him. You hear Christian. You see him right here in my Brady Bunch right below me.
Hello.
We got Tommy holding it down with Baby Z and Elena. We got Josh Bustos in
Hello.
the left field pavilion. I don't know if you can
Mm-hmm.
see this right now.
Wow,
Only
with the
guy in
pores.
Dodger Stadium at the moment. And the one and only Godfather, Rico. Can I also mention, Rico's got the pro setup. I don't know if you guys, Rico upgraded his microphone.
Right?
He upgraded his headphones. Like, Rico's ready to go. Having said that, Rico's muted. I don't think he realizes
Yeah, Rico, you're muted, dude.
it.
All
pro-
that.
Talking to nobody.
I
pro-
muted myself, man. I got that pro setup thanks to that stimulus check, so we're good to go.
You just gotta
Stimulus
remember the mute.
check.
Just like Bustos. Bustos is also muted right now, guys.
But he's still,
Come on.
yeah, Bustos, but he can't even spend money on his Netflix with his stimulus check. So
Right.
Bustos, you're gonna have to drop money to upgrade that microphone. Are you gonna have to call in with this? There you go.
No, I was just checking the feeds.
So, guys, what has happened since last week? I know
Nothing.
before we used to be like, so much has happened since last week. Like, we'd have so many topics to talk
Nothing.
about. This time, not
Nothing.
so much. You guys have tomorrow new Charger uniforms, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing new
6:45
is the
a.m.
Jordan special. The Jordan the Bull special. That was great to watch.
But yeah,
That was really good. That was really
I
good.
turned 31 on Saturday.
the biggest news, Christian had a
31 or 21?
21. Wow.
It's not an episode without Tommy dropping a 21 reference because
No, I'm trying to make you feel
Niners.
younger.
If
I'm trying to make you feel younger.
if Tommy was a
Younger.
I was
rapper,
21.
hey, if Tommy was a rapper, he'd be 21 Savage.
No.
Dang.
I want to be Eminem.
well played, DJ. Well played.
Well, like we said, we got guests this show. It's not just us. So I don't know if you think Rico start bringing some of our wonderful guests who are joining us today. See, today's episode, Rico's the one who's going to be holding it down. Like, I'm setting up on this end,
that
but
is-
Rico's the main guy.
Bustos left and he's running on the field right now. He's running on the field naked. Oh, never mind.
That
He's
is
back.
too much responsibility. All right, guys. Yes, we do have a lot of guests with us today. We're kind of working off last week's episode where we had Kurt from TCC join in. So we felt that it was good to kind of get a, kind of good insight on other people on how not having sports is affecting them personally as well as, from a business perspective. So I'll go ahead and introduce them one at a time. First guest that we have here is Alma. Sorry, I keep saying Alma. So
Yes, and she's making a return appearance on the podcast.
the return appearance. Yes, this is her second episode now. So Alma, welcome back. We have next Coach Jamar Malone. He's jumping on, and he's actually a youth football coach. So Jay, welcome to Hooligan Podcast.
Rico, I feel like you got to give us like the intros from
WWE,
no, or like from Cal State University. Checking
from Arizona State, Jamar Malone.
6'2".
And we're all like high fiving.
He's not Pacific.
Next
Right.
guest we have here, actually football coach, track coach, teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Russell Wilson. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
This is my good. He looks like Russell Wilson. This is my good friend Kevin. Kevin over here.
He really does look like Russell Wilson.
I'm telling you, hey,
They're like, wow, we really got Russell Wilson.
and Hooligan's coming on up. Last but not least, we have honorary mayor of San Pedro, GM of Big Nick's Pizza, Mr. John.
Delicious
Yes,
pizza.
very good
What's up,
pizza,
everybody?
John. Welcome.
Good to see you
welcome,
guys.
everyone.
Former honorary mayor, by the way.
Foreigner, hey, we'll let you have the title. So.
I
The
don't want that
official
title
pizza
no more.
of San Pedro and Team Turn Up. And
So
the
what's
Hooligan
the
Sports
official?
Podcast.
Definitely. So welcome everyone again for joining us. We mentioned earlier, we've been talking sports the past few weeks. Sports news has unfortunately died down. So what we want to do is kind of get everyone's intake, on how sports is affecting you guys. Again, from coaches to business owners to just typical super fans like Alma. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna keep it Connor Alma. So let's go ahead and let's start off with Kevin here. High school football coach, track coach. How has the coronavirus affected you as personally from sports? Huge Raider fan, by the way, as well as plays quarterback for the Seahawks, and as well as football coach and track coach. So
Yeah, Raider fan since the '80s, baby. Going to the Coliseum, but it's been quite the change, honestly. For me personally, I've coached football and track for over 25 years. I've been a teacher for 25 years at Covina High School, and everything just happened so fast. It's not like we had time to plan, prepare. It was just showed up one day at school on a Friday, and next thing you know, by 2 o'clock, we had orders that we were done for up through our spring break. And so, our plan, it's a track for example, it's a spring sport. You're coaching kids immediately and you kind of give them, hey, we still need to stay in shape. This is coming back. We'll be back April 13th. We'll miss the meets here. We'll figure it out and go from there. And you've got kids, wanting to keep their routine, missing out on meets. Then you have the whole academic situation, which again, did not have a lot of planning for people to get ready for, the teachers, parents. You've heard about the device issues, connection issues, everything that you can imagine just happened way too quick for us to really prep ourselves for.
Right.
So,
What about the seniors? That's a big thing. I work for a school district also. We hear that a lot. I feel bad for the seniors that didn't get to play their last game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Their final senior game, they're are prepping for college. This even affects juniors right now because this is the time of the year where the juniors are visiting their future colleges to kind of scope them out, see which one they want to pick. What are your students telling you on how they feel about that? Obviously, prom is out of the question now. Grad night and all that stuff.
and in two short words, what I hear the most is this sucks. That's really it. It really does. And I can think back to my senior year and my spring semester leading into prom and graduation was my most memorable semester I ever had in high school. It was great. It seemed like that was all 4 years. And for these guys to kind of have that taken away from them last minute, whether it's athletics, whether it's great experiences like prom, and obviously graduation is devastating. So, as an educator, you can just give them words of encouragement. It's not the end of the world right now. It might seem like the world to you, but as we all know as adults, that there's so much more ahead in life to look forward to. So you deal with it and you move on. Our school district and many of the neighboring school districts, there's two things that they'd like to still provide for the kids, and that is a prom and a graduation. And even if it's delayed, that's still, a very strong option in the summer, maybe even in the fall. But those are two memories that stick out that families want to see, that the seniors and juniors want to be a part of. And so those are possibilities. It just depends on how everything goes. Because as you guys know, everything's changing so fast, right?
Yeah.
We back April 13th to back May 5th to, we're not coming back. So
And next school year is even up in the air.
say again.
Next school year is even up in the air right now.
Yeah, you're getting into that, and now you're getting into the fall sports.
Oh yeah, and the fall sports, a lot of big money makers for schools with football, where it makes balance a lot of your budgets or helps your budget for the other athletics.
Yeah, for most schools, football in high school, even much like college, will fund your entire sports program and school. If you think about all the activities that ASB hosts, that money not only comes from kids purchasing ASB cards, but if you have a good football team, you're making some money. Not a lot of that money usually goes to the actual football team, the gate money at least. So it's quite devastating what the repercussions could be in the long run. But again, it's early, and the brains and at work and CIF, our governing body, are coming up with ideas and alternatives because we're probably going to need to think outside the box. We ended school with not many cases in our local area. I mean, I just don't see us going back with multiple cases in our area. So it's going to be interesting in how it plays out.
How do you feel like the schools and the parents and all the people have handled the situation so far?
In our area, I think very well. I'm in Covina Valley, and I think it's been a great response. I think we were very good with our distance learning, as we called it. Obviously, there's disappointment with athletics, but our kids, like I tell them, I'm disappointed as can be. We had a really good team, and all the things we could have done, you'll never know, but it's just not us. It's affecting everybody, and you're talking about the entire country, the entire world. People are sacrificing what we could have done and missing this part of our life. And, maybe for us, it's like, hey, it's just another year. But, obviously, like you said, for these kids, it was that only moment that they can have. But I think our response has been, or the community's response has been very positive. I think you can tell, like just in the community and basically in America, people are getting antsy. It's hard to kind of be in a situation that we've been in for a long time. People want it to end, and so you're starting to see that on a lot of different levels.
Wow. It is amazing out there what this disease is doing, for countrywide and definitely from a school perspective. So thank you for that, Kevin. Appreciate it. So Jay, you're another coach of some type, also not high school, but you do a lot of the youth football coaching, right? I've known Jamar here for close to 20 years now, and when he ran his football program, this man gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. He did a lot of, he helped a lot of youth, excel in, football. So, and very great programs that he held. How does that affect you now, knowing these kids have nothing to do after school, no practice on the weekend? You got boys of your own who play sports, right? And they're home. They're probably driving you crazy at being home all day now. And these are teenage and young kids, boys that have all this energy. So how are you coping with it? And how is it affecting you, Jay?
Oh man, I think I'm like every other parent right about now. Like I wish school was in. uh, but just on the note, I think that as a parent, you always we all feel the same way. We'll do anything to take care of our kids and to make sure that they're safe, right? So it's really not that much of a pain. But from a football perspective, I've been in youth football for 2 years, and then last year was my first year coaching in high school, and so I'm catching it twofold right now. So I agree with everything that Kevin just said in relation to high school. So I think he's going to be the subject matter expert on that, and I'll just tackle the youth football side. Um, from the youth football side, it's actually really a problem for us because we service a age range that spans from 5 years old all the way to 14 years old, right? Yeah. And so typically we start training in January, February timeframe to get ready for a season that really starts at late August, beginning of September. And so you're looking at a whole lot of kids right now that don't have a whole lot of activity, that have no activity after school. Now they're just seriously sitting at home and doing their online studies and driving mom and dad crazy. I think that it's going to impact us a couple of ways. One is that I don't believe that we're going to have a football season this year for youth football. And the reason why I say that is because now we're literally running into the time frame that it would take us to get prepared, and it would put us in a situation to where we potentially could not provide a safe game once the season actually began, right? The latest that we could start would be July, right? Which would give us 6 weeks before we played a game. And depending on at the level with the younger guys, that's okay because they're really not hitting hard or anything like that. So they could actually have some fun. At the upper levels, when you start getting to that 11, 12 and above, now you're talking about some real serious football that's being played where some serious hits are being delivered. And you're talking about kids right now who can't even go out and train. So you're saying that you have a large population of children who are unable to get themselves physically in shape, mentally in shape to be prepared to play a high impact, fast paced game to where these 14-year-olds are 200 pounds, 6 feet tall. They're the size of grown men, playing a game. So it actually impacts us that way. I think that from a youth football perspective, we're going to see this trickle down for a couple of seasons potentially, just for the simple reason is you got a lot of parents that are losing their jobs right now.
Yeah.
And youth football is not free, right?
Youth football and youth hockey have to be the most expensive youth sports.
Right.
And golf.
That's the next question I want to ask you. And I've been with Jay during these summer years and these winter years where we're prepping the kids getting equipment, right? You know, doing physicals and all that. How is this? I'm sure it's hitting the vendors bad, right? The Riddle football, Dick's Sporting Goods, all these guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are losing out on serious revenue. I mean, you got to look at it from this standpoint. You know, my program at its peak, we had 250 football players. We're not even counting cheerleaders. We're just saying 250 kids playing football.
And that's just one city. Yeah. That was Cerritos.
Yeah, that's just my organization. 250 kids in my organization, one team, ranging from 5 to 14, and we charge $475 a head. Right now, that's significant revenue that comes to us to be able to deliver those services to those kids. But at the same time, you're talking about helmets being purchased. You know, with my organization, 2 helmets, shoulder pads, uniforms, accessories, the whole 9 yards. So it just impacts all of that revenue for all of those organizations that provide that type of equipment to service youth football. So it's going to have an echo across the board, but the biggest things are the family, right? Because at this particular point, like I said, moms and dads are losing jobs, and $475 for little Johnny to play football, hey, that might not be a necessity right now. The rent, the mortgage, the car payment, food in the refrigerator is the necessity. And if mom and dad, if the economy doesn't pick up and some of these industries don't pick up by next year, then we're running right into the same thing the following season. So I think that enrollment as far as youth sports overall, regardless if it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, I think they're going to see a drop in that across the board just for that reason.
I could see it having a ripple effect, like you're saying, starting there and then, hurting not only small businesses like Rico mentioned, vendors and stuff like that who now aren't, able to operate because these families aren't coming in purchasing stuff, and you know what I mean. And just not only that, but like you had mentioned earlier, like there's now like going to be a gap as far as kids aren't playing. Kids are still getting older and they should be playing in these these older leagues and stuff like that. But now that they're missing out on a year of this experience and the year of this like all these little intangibles that go into the bigger picture that are now going to be affected. And obviously, like I feel like every episode we say like, oh, we're in a time like never before. This is uncharted territory, but it's it's the realest thing that you can say about this.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I agree with you 100%. I mean, look, the last time we've seen anything like this was about 100 years ago. So there aren't too many people walking around on the planet that can share that information. And as far as the youth sports go, the other biggest thing that we provide for the community is that a lot of our programs service underserved communities, right? So we're a deterrent for kids to be out in the street causing trouble.
Also very true. Yeah.
So now you don't have football or you don't have those sports that's going to keep them out of the street. A lot of the kids, man, hey, you could drive down the street. A lot of kids aren't staying in the house, right? A lot of things are still happening out there, and lots of trouble is still happening out there with kids getting into trouble. And I think that's a testament to youth sports. Hey, kids are bored.
I never even thought of that. Yeah, I've never even thought of that aspect of it. But that also, is a big, like on the community too. Like it affects kids can only stay inside so much. Teenagers can only be cooped up so much before they're out and whatever the case may be. But like sports goes beyond all that kind of stuff and helping the community.
I got a question for Kevin, but from at least from our side as well too, and in my limited experience, with being in coaching high school last year, football is a really social sport. I mean, it involves the entire family. And so a lot of this, we call it the football family because literally we spend probably, if you take in just from football playing games, to the training, we're spending anywhere between 6 to 9 months of the year together with all of these families, with these kids. So they become an extension of our family. And now you can't even go hang out with them. You can't touch them. You're doing the social aspect is gone, and we're still trying to figure out those ways of connecting them. So we can have some resemblance of team. Like Kevin, what are you guys doing right now to really just keep that camaraderie and keep that team mentality going through this tough time? Because eventually we will touch the field, but until then, we still have to still train those minds to think team and cohesion.
Yeah, it's difficult for sure, and it's new territory for everybody. For our particular school, our head coach, really from the first week, because you're in lifting season for football, really, which is 24/7. He passed along workouts, alternative workouts for the kids to do on their own. It was a minor problem right away when we did shut down school. The kids were still gathering at a lot of spots on campus, at parks, before they really had a grasp like, hey, you know what, we're really not supposed to be being together, doing things. And so alternative workouts, anything that you can do by yourself or makeshift weights. A lot of kids obviously don't have that stuff at home. I've got so many phone calls from alumni to friends, to, hey, can I get a 45 bar from the weight room? Can I get some dumbbells? I need something, which is really impossible to do because it's, the school's pretty much on lockdown. I have trouble getting in there,
Right.
but that's kind of the world we're in. I saw our rival school on Zoom this morning doing a team workout led by their strength and conditioning coach, which was really cool. I have a Google Hangouts meeting with my track team on Thursday. And I'm going to talk to him about, hey, we have a 30-minute window during Google.
Do they like run in place at home?
Find a couple dynamic warm up drills that they can.
There you go.
But
you find them.
They're going to look
find them motivated during this time.
Say again.
Do you find them motivated during this time with the whole, the school year is done, the track season basically gone?
It'd be hard to motivate them, especially knowing that we pretty much don't have any track meets left. So my motivation for them, especially the younger ones, is just stay active. It's part of our mental health at this point. We're just staying indoors and we're sleeping until 12 every day, and we're not being active, and you've been an active person. You're not doing yourself any physical, mental favors for your just overall well-being, Yeah. So I think that's the avenue that you want to be. Obviously, the younger kids, they have still something to look forward to. Most of our kids play other sports, and so it's kind of motivation to stay in that. A lot of my track kids play football, so they're going to transition into that and stay active. So a lot of them are doing what they should be doing, and they get the encouragement. And obviously, they're trying to get together on certain times and do things together with a buddy. And if somebody's got a weight rack or a bench at home in their garage, that's a hot place to be right now. So it's just them, again, the camaraderie that you said, and trying to build it together. It's not going to be the same, but these are new times and new experiences. And, I think the major thing that the kids will experience, that I'll experience, is that these trying times, when we get back, and we will get back, we are really going to appreciate those times. We are really going to appreciate the moments that we have, and not taking it for granted.
We definitely can't take it for anything. I mean, even from getting a haircut right now, it's like, oh my God, that is so important. It's killing me, right? So,
my 5 weeks.
Man, I need one badly.
Yeah. Alma, what's going on with you, Miss Superfan?
Well, nothing much, I guess. I mean, I was one of the first ones to say, like, oh, sports got canceled, like, screw it. Like, my life it revolves around sports. It kind of does. I mean, I plan vacations around it, days off, time off, whatever. But this
and if you guys follow Alma on Twitter, it's nothing but sports with her, great topics that she has.
I seen it.
I love sports, but I think like what we're learning now in the past, what has it been, a little bit over a month or so, like it's been more than just that. Like it's no longer like, oh, it's just sports. It's like it's affected us like completely. There isn't a day that goes by where there isn't a day that goes by where I don't see like somebody else, lose their job, or people are getting sick. Like I have a friend whose dad's like really ill. They still don't know if it's the Rona or not. So now I feel like it went from you know, I'm devastated about sports to it just being like, I just want to be able to, you know, go grab a drink somewhere, go eat somewhere that's
Yeah,
not
just be
home.
social, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
that. Like, I feel like I feel bad at making excuses for not going out on weekends just because I was too lazy to go out, but I miss that.
There's gonna be one big party when this whole thing is cleared.
You guys hear
Yeah.
that? Party at Busto's house. We're all invited. Everybody in
Yeah.
this chat, party at Busto's house.
Hey, we
We
get
don't have a
Costco
party because
pizza or
All
what?
you can drink. All you can drink.
All you can, yeah, everything on Busto's. He already said it.
Definitely, and
know.
I think what we
Busto's
should
has-
do is definitely meet up at Big Nick's Pizza after, and
Right?
you know that
I've heard
we're
good
social
things.
handling down
I
there.
like
So
that idea.
That's
yeah,
a great
and
transition.
yeah, speaking of Big Nick's, hey, look what we have here. We have John, the GM of Big Nick's. How's it going, bud?
Hanging in there, man. It's heartbreaking to walk in this restaurant every day.
It is, and I visit John once a week if I can, at least to help support small business. And it is a huge transition of what it used to look like. Obviously, you can't dine in restaurants right now; it's only to go. You know, and always help out your community. But I had a good view last Friday. You guys were really busy. You know, John actually didn't have time to talk to me. He was so busy back there in the kitchen. So I was like, all right, things are picking up. People are using their stimulus checks, seems like, which is
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
no, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, wow, that's right. Stimulus checks hit this weekend. Everyone's ordering pizza, so that's good.
It was two things. Another restaurant guy texted me and he said, we were really busy tonight. And I said, stimulus checks and Lent is over so they can eat meat on Friday.
Oh,
again.
that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So John, give us a rundown of what's going on with sports affecting you personally, and again, as mentioned, as a business, you know, as many guys know, we used to have our Kings playoff watch parties at Big Nick's. We used to take over one half of the restaurant, and you know, it just be a big party, and we're missing that right now. You know?
Yeah, weren't we here when they won the Stanley Cup? What, the second time? Was it the second time? We were here
That's awesome.
celebrating.
Who to make playoffs this year?
It's really difficult. It's again, to walk in here every day and not pull the chairs down, not turn the TVs on, not look at the schedule and go, all right, the Kings play at 7. I got to put this TV on. The Clippers play at 5. You know, just nothing. It is just absolute nothing. We're lucky in the fact that we're a pretty established delivery and to-go based business, but there's a lot of restaurants out there suffering a lot, and I have good friends with a lot of good restaurants out there that their sales are down 90%. Wow. And they're trying to support a staff, and you know, they basically had to lay everyone off. Even I had to let about 10 people go. You know, those girls, the waitresses that served you, Rico, they're all gone. I had to let them all go.
Like you, Bell, and all them, huh?
All gone.
Oh,
I mean,
my God.
two girls have been here for over 10 years, and I had to tell them, I have nothing for you to do. I have to let you go, file for unemployment, so at least you have some income. It hurts to do that because they're family after that long working for you. So it's been rough. The only bright side of this whole thing, Rico, and you know this, there's plenty of parking out there right now.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of parking, yeah.
Yeah,
John,
so my neighbors have chilled out a lot because of parking, yeah.
And you know, youth sports too in San Pedro is big. One of the biggest sports in San Pedro is AYSO soccer, you know, as well as, you know, some of the high schools and whatnot. And John has always delivered his product to a lot of these, you know, events also, you know, and that's taking a hit, right? I mean, the youth teams, the baseball team, the football team, soccer team, always having their pizza parties. Hey, let's go to Big Nick's after a game or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it's more than just professional sports. In Pedro, they actually dumped AYSO, and they have their own league here called HYSL, Harbor Youth Soccer League, right down the street at Field of Dreams.
Right.
Hundreds of kids a day playing. And after those games, we're the closest restaurant. They're in here eating, or we're selling slices at the field, or we're donating to teams, or we're helping fundraise for teams. All gone. Silence. I haven't been called about a fundraiser for 6 weeks. I get a call twice a week for, we have a fundraiser. Can you donate to this? Cold silence, nothing. It's almost remarkable that that's happening. You know, going back to the school issue, I sell chocolate bars at the front counter for one of the local schools to support their baseball team. You know, these kids got stuck with these chocolate bars that they had to take home. School got dismissed like that. All these kids are stuck with cases of candy that they have to sell, or they have to turn the money in for. So we called one of the teachers and said, have those kids drop them off here. We could sell them at the front counter, at least relieve some of that stress for these kids who are struggling and their families, their parents aren't working. They can't even afford to pay for that box of chocolate that they vouched for that they would sell to help their team. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. It affects a lot of little things going around the community.
Yeah. I never even, obviously those are little things you never really ever think about, but yeah, something so small can mean, you know what I mean, or have such a large effect, especially like you're saying on a family, and you know, times are tough. Little things like that do make a difference.
They make a big difference. And I mean, for you know, and we talk about when I was in school and you guys were all in school, like to have school just abruptly end like that without any knowledge and nothing. And I told my staff, because they kind of just were like, is this really happening? Is this real? And I said, let me tell you this. When Disneyland closes and church closes, you know stuff is real.
That's when it got real.
Because those places don't close for nothing.
Yeah, I think I told Jay the best analogy. I said, when casinos and church closes, when God and the devil agree on something, it's got to be bad.
It's got to stop.
It's got to be bad. It's got to be bad.
And I don't know.
You know, it's funny hearing kids talk about how I hate school. I wish I would have to go to school now. It's like, I want to go to school now. I miss my friends.
That's what I was gonna say too. Honestly, like the whole thing, like I'm sure the ones who suffer are like the seniors and the kids who are missing out on those things. But I'm sure like sophomores, everybody else, like spring break started early and it's going all the way to September. I'm sure they're like, this might not be the worst thing in the world.
And it's not only school, it's the whole work from home stuff. And you know, when Jay and I worked together, we always got from our employees, hey, I want to work from home. I want to work from home. Right. Now everyone's working from home. The problem is everyone is working from home. The wife, the kids, the husbands, and like everyone's together 24/7 to where they're like, I don't want to work. I want to go to work and, you know, get away from my wife or my husband, you know, or my kids. But you know, that's just the way the world is right now. It's crazy how, again, all our lives have abruptly just been flipped over, you know, and changed.
You know, and you talk about going back to, you know, football and high school football, and, you know, the mayor himself said we may not see sporting events or concerts for the rest of this year in Los Angeles as far as fans. So high school football makes their money on football athletic programs. Right. If you can't have fans in the stands, where's that money coming from for these sports programs?
Yeah, you might have football in the fall. The winter in January.
But still, like you said, we'd mentioned before, the ripple effect. Like just taking one of these things affects businesses, affects families. It's just it's really hard, and it's hard to even predict. You know what I mean? That the path, or you know what ends up happening, because there's so many variables. There's so many little things that are affected by one thing, like youth football, for example. It's not only the businesses in the community, but the actual school. Like you're saying, the school themselves actually, you know, get money from this, and it's just it's crazy to try to think about like what path, you know, eventually we go down, and it's hard to like, you know, put it together at this point, and which honestly also makes it tougher is there's no actual, you know, date. There's not like a set date where anybody has where everything is going to get fixed on this date. Right now we're going, you know, first it was May, and then they're saying July, and then like you had mentioned, the mayor said probably the rest of 2020 there's going to be no concerts or sporting events in LA County. That's huge. Like,
no, just the city.
Or the city of LA, but considering we're in April right now and they're already writing off the rest of 2020, that's insane. Like that's crazy.
How do you finish? We have two basketball teams that could win the NBA championship. How do you finish the season?
Isolation.
Yeah, we're actually good again, and
Lakers
like
finally
Lakers
make
fans,
the playoffs for the first time in like 7 years. The Ronans.
And I think we've mentioned this almost every episode too, as far as the effect of, like, if we're using the Lakers, now Anthony Davis is a free agent and the season may be over. Or in the Dodgers case, you know, they went out and got Mookie Betts, who's, you know, a superstar, and now he may not even ever play a game for the Dodgers. They may lose him, and plus the prospect they gave up for him. It's just like, do they continue the season from where, you know, they left off? Is everything just going to get wiped out and like 2019 didn't exist?
We lost out on going back-to-back XFL champions.
Cats. I don't think so.
We're still undefeated.
The LA Wildcats were supposed to fulfill the legacy that the LA Extreme started.
No, I think we just made sure we continue that legacy with that one.
I think even if they resume like any kind of sports like without fans, you would think the athletes, I understand, yeah, they're getting paid, but a lot of them vibe off of the crowd, the fans being there and it being loud, and I don't think they'd be up for playing with like, I don't know, empty arena, empty stadiums. Like, I don't
It
know.
is odd. I mean, if you watch those Japanese baseball games, it's just super odd. If you watch wrestling
Taiwan
right
baseball?
now, it's really odd. Yeah, Taiwan baseball. Sorry.
You see that fight that we had?
I saw
Yeah,
there
there
was
was
a fight.
a
I
brawl
didn't see
during a Taiwanese baseball game the other night.
They had to let it out.
Sucks, but
Oh, and breaking news: the Korean Baseball League just announced they're going to start the season May 5th.
So
Sports.
A Cinco de Mayo, sponsored by Corona.
So does that mean we're gonna have to find Korean baseball teams now?
It's so
Yeah.
stupid.
But going back to the empty stadium thing,
Go
Empty
DC
stadiums, too.
Bears.
I'm a big soccer fan, and in Europe they do it a lot.
Yeah.
They punish teams because their fans they're riled up. They racist comments. They throw stuff on the field. They've been teams that have had 4, 5, 10 games in a row without fans. So it's not impossible. It looks weird on TV, especially, but it's been done. There's soccer is the most popular sport in the world, except in the United States. But I mean, it's been done.
And they were doing it up until like the pandemic really got locked down. But the games leading up, and I think like February end of February, beginning of March, a lot of the Champions League games were played with nobody in the crowd already.
Right.
And then they shut down. So I mean, like, obviously it's been done. I don't know, as far as other than that incident in Baltimore, the last time it was done in the States. I know they played that one game when there was riots. Remember,
like the rioting had stopped in Baltimore, but it was just like as a safety precaution because of what was going on. They decided no fans.
It's weird though, because I was watching, because my whole sleep schedule's been screwed up, watching some
fans actually did show up though to that game, like behind the gates and everything. So
they were out in the outfield.
But the Florida Marlins play every game without fans.
This is true.
And the Tampa Bay Rays.
And the Tampa Bay Rays, yeah.
We have so many potential.
If someone brings up the Chargers, that will end this video conference right now.
I don't know.
No, the Chargers have fans, but they're all the opposite team fans.
Hold on, right?
The colors, yeah.
Let me see what this right click does right here.
I mean,
so
I still support the team.
There you go. That's my man Buso. He's my second favorite.
That look like a little kid shirt.
So sports comes back. Alma, what are you doing? The first day sports comes back.
Sorry, my dog loves attention.
No, that's totally
right
fine.
in the front of the camera.
Dude, as soon as they give us the goal, I'm going to any game. Like, I don't even care at this point of it. I don't like the Rams or Chargers. No offense, guys.
Wow.
But dude, even if football's like
he's a Steelers fan.
Right clicker.
Yeah, whatever sporting event they let us go to, I don't care who it is, where it is. Like, I'm going. Like,
you're just gonna go. Yeah, super fan. I'm telling you.
I miss it. I really do.
Even if it's like wrestling or something.
Yes, even if it's wrestling, I'm going.
Or like
Go watch the local golf course.
A golf tournament. Yeah, the bowling tournament.
Bustos is like, hey, so you want to see me play some golf?
Bustos like, I'm PGA certified, right?
Hey Rico,
were
you at? Wasn't the Kings game one of the last sporting events played? Were you at that game?
DJ Christian, Tommy, and I were at the last actually professional sports game.
No, Tommy was not there.
Oh no, that's right. That's right. That was the night Dustin Brown scored. He was there with us in spirit.
No.
So it was DJing. Yes, we were at the last Kings game against Ottawa, and that was the last.
My question is, what was the vibe like amongst?
It was
fans?
weird. It was weird.
Everybody knew that the season was going to be canceled and nothing had been announced yet. I feel like everybody was going around the arena like that was the last game of the year. Like, because the news.
The ice crew did a group picture at center ice after the game, and it looked like, all right, that's it for the season.
It was a weird vibe. First of all, driving to the Staples Center was weird. Figueroa was empty at 6:30 p.m. I think that was a Thursday night, guys. I forgot exactly what day it was.
It was a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
One of those. It was midweek.
Wednesday.
Figueroa was empty. You walk into Staples Center, the vibe is weird. They stopped. One of the things I'm still pissed off. They stopped selling refillable sodas because that's when the whole. But I think the staff already knew what was going to happen prior to them announcing it because, like Christian said, the ice crew took a picture. center ice, so everyone knew they were going to cancel it prior to the public knowledge.
And I think like right before warmups is when like the news with Rudy Gobert
Yeah.
broke, and that the NBA was like suspending the season as we were at the game. That
I
news
think
had come out.
I group chat that right when you guys were at the game. That Gobert got the coronas.
Yeah, and that from then on, everybody kind of knew like something was up, because they were waiting an announcement from the NHL the next morning. So we were already like, I think this is it, guys. So we were joking around that, because usually the last game of the year for the Kings is known as fan appreciation. So we were even joking around like, oh, tonight's the impromptu fan appreciation night, like just because it's the last game of the year. And knowing that our team wasn't going to make the playoffs, we were like, this really might be the last game of the year, because if they bring it back, they're going straight to playoffs.
Yeah, and it was weird. And DJ, I didn't even think about it because I missed the kind of warm-ups, but the Kings came out of a different tunnel that night. Right. Usually they come out of a tunnel where the fans can high-five them as they're walking through the tunnel. They actually came out through where their bench is at from the locker room back.
So they really don't interact.
No interaction with fans or nothing. So things are already being spread out by then.
So what I was going to say is what a difference a few days make, because that was a Wednesday night. And I think 3 or 4 nights before that, I went to the Galaxy game. It was their home opener. Chicharito,
I was there too.
It was a lot of excitement. It was sold out. And to me, the vibe there was, it's another game. Nobody had that concern, but just a few days, what a difference.
Right.
Yeah,
right, I agree.
And it's crazy to think about that whole 4 days of all sports and stuff in Staples, and 3 or 4 of the team players and the other teams caught the coronavirus.
Yeah, yes. A lot of them came from Ottawa.
Me, DJ, and Rico got lucky because we were in a building with direct contact with the Ronas.
Yeah, confirmed corona cases at the time.
At the Staples Center, yes.
I said we got lucky that all of our seats are up in the 300s, because everybody, like all the athletes, are down below. I was like, we're lucky.
I was the closest. Technically, I was the closest because I was sitting 2 rows from the ice. I was actually at my homeboy's step-parent seats.
And that game was so empty that if you sat up in the 300s, you can actually talk to guest relations during the game, and they will move you down to the 100 level, 200 level, just to
social distancing,
just to feel. Well, yeah, that prior the whole social distancing came out, but
I gotta come downstairs.
You don't have to sit with the pores,
right? So, but it was crazy because Staples Center could have been a hotbed or a hot spot for the coronavirus, because the Ottawa Senators caught it. They played at Staples Center. The New Jersey Nets caught it. A lot of players from New Jersey Nets. Brooklyn. Sorry, the Nets caught it. Right? They played at Staples Park.
The Avalanche the night before too.
So the Avalanche, right? So there was a lot of connection to Staples Center and the coronavirus, right?
And the Lakers, yeah.
And they never announced who from the Lakers got coronavirus. I think it might have been LeBron damn James.
Or even
LeBron. I think it was Danny Green. He canceled a appearance like a couple of days after the whole thing.
Gusto's the investigator.
So I think it was Danny Green. There's no way.
Clearly, it was A.B. Bradley.
No, and you want to know what's weird? Like I was out in Philadelphia like 2 weeks prior to all of this happening, and I went to a Meet the Players event with the Flyers, and this is before the whole social distancing and not being able to be around them. They were already practicing social distancing. We couldn't get all that close to the players. They couldn't shake our hands. They couldn't put their hands or arms around us. If we were handing them anything to sign, they had workers there with gloves to take the items from us and hand them to the players. So that was weird to me because I had never seen anything like that. Like, you know, they're usually shaking your hand or whatever the case may be, or, you know, doing this to you at, you know, during pictures. But it was weird. Like, I hated my pictures because I just looked like a creep standing next to them. So I was like, they couldn't have any, you know, any real interaction. So I was like, dude, this is weird. Like, I was like, I paid for this crap. Like, what the heck? But now it's like, if you think about it, I think we're gonna be very limited to any kind of like face-to-face interaction with athletes. Yeah.
That was my question. I was like, imagine how sports is going to change now with the interaction between fans, the players, and all that. Because I know before the most important things for someone younger is like, hey, interact with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
If player shake the kids' hands, do the high five. How many of those stuff is now going to be eliminated? is
Oh yeah.
running on the field during baseball games gone. Is we get to walk around the field before a Dodger game or before a baseball game.
Or even like photo day at the Dodgers where they come and take
Yeah.
pictures, you know, with you and
They
all
haven't
that.
done photo day in years though at Dodger Stadium.
When was the last
I
time?
think they did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. That was the last time. And it's like they didn't even get like, the popular players like, oh no, Clayton's not coming out here.
Here comes
You know,
Yimi Garcia.
Hey, sorry, we couldn't, Clayton Kershaw couldn't make it, but we got Pedro Baez.
And we don't know again what's going to happen in sports, right? Especially with football. And this question goes to you, Kevin, Jamar, and John. You guys are big Raider fans, right?
Yes.
Do you guys even get the chance to see the new stadium coming up, right? Which I've drove by it. It is a sweet looking stadium, but
Yes, it
that's
is.
you guys as new as fans. And you said, I'm sure they had promotions that were going to come out, to visit it prior to the season starting. Right, kind of like a meet and greet, similar to that, kind of like welcoming the Raiders to Vegas. That might all be out the door now. So
I was supposed to get a special VIP tour of the stadium in July.
yeah.
Well, excuse me, Bustos.
Wow.
So what were your guys' plan
brag.
with the Raiders
DJ knows
moving to
about
Vegas?
Well, I'll jump in there real quick, man. I definitely was looking forward to making that trip across the desert and going to Vegas to check out the new stadium and check out my team. And my kids and my boys were looking forward to it as well too. But again, doesn't look like it's gonna happen. I hope so. And if it does, then definitely we're gonna go take a trip for sure.
And Vegas was going to be one of those spots when the Raiders were home that you just go to Vegas because the Raiders were playing a home game. You don't even need to be at the game.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of how that.
We could all attest to the years we've gone to Vegas for the preseason Frozen Furries. I went for the game. We supposedly went for the game, but we all really went to have a good time.
I'll jump in real quick on that because they're gonna hate my answer. I have zero desire.
That's right. John's a diehard Oakland Raider fan. That's right.
They should have left Oakland.
That's right.
My dad was born and raised in Oakland. We are heartbroken Oakland fans that they ditched us again. There's no better place to tailgate and watch a game than the Oakland Coliseum, and it's a travesty that they moved. But on top of that,
John is preaching the good word there regarding
I'm
the city of Oakland.
I've lost friends over this, but if they
I'm
can't
also an
finish
A's
the
fan,
stadium
John,
because of this, if they have to stop construction, where are they going to play this year if they play?
I've read 3 places: Salt Lake City, Sam Boyd Stadium, because if the Chargers could play at whatever old StubHub,
Dignity Health Sports Park.
Play at Sam Boyd. I even heard Qualcomm too.
Wow.
Well, here's
the irony.
They haven't stopped, so they're the only ones still working on. I have a buddy who lives there, sends pictures all the time. They're still working on the stadium. The construction is still going.
And
SoFi,
the construction is still going on at SoFi in Inglewood also, and they actually had a worker that had the case of the coronavirus.
2.
One of the welders, 2 of them, right?
A couple in Vegas too.
Yeah. So what makes this so weird is that let's just say this playing for empty fans happens. Do they open these stadiums with no fans? This is the first ever game in Allegiant Stadium or SoFi Stadium with nobody there. Like, say that the stadiums are ready, but these ordinances are in place. Do they hold that off? Like we're saying, do they play somewhere else in the meantime and wait for fans to go? Like,
no, TV contracts worked way too much. They'll play it in empty arenas.
One thing certain regarding the SoFi Stadium is that the Ronas doesn't miss because, Taylor Swift, you thought you were going to open up SoFi Stadium? Nah, son.
That was not her. That was not the.
Her concerts are pretty good.
Y'all look at me. Look at me. The Ronas doesn't miss.
No, she canceled it because her mom has cancer.
The Ronas don't miss, son.
Hey, but Taylor Swift puts on a good concert, by the way.
I want to know how you know that, man.
Those
Well, how do I know? Oh, Jamal.
Tennessee, Rico. The mini trips to Tennessee.
Oh, that's right.
I got my tickets right here. Yeah, that's still, like we're saying, that's something crazy to think about. Like, obviously, those stadiums are, if everything goes, according to plan, are on schedule to open September. And like we're saying, as far as everything goes, at least out here, they're saying we're not going to have anything with fans at least till 2021. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on and just think. You know what I mean? Like that'll be interesting. Stadiums open with no fans.
Before we get to the NFL, I think college football is going to be an interesting question because
college football is done.
Would they be practicing now?
Right.
Yeah, college football summer starts in July.
I usually go to the USC spring games around this time of year. It's usually happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Summer school has to be in session. So
well, I've read universities are not going to have football teams allow them to play if the whole university is not on campus. So how are you going to let them play?
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, I think, and again, I pose this question to Kevin because he's been coaching high school for a while. Forget the college football aspect of it for a second because that's just as big as a business as the NFL, right? But Kevin, you're seniors, right? If any of them got a scholarship, what does that now look like?
For our kids that are,
we got double
seniors you're talking about?
I know. I'm gonna close one. Sorry, guys.
Can I put Boostos here with 2 screens? Like
she's in Frisco now, by the way.
I know, that was cool.
We're going to look at this whole spring season as far as sports and high school is concerned with a big asterisk next to it. Is the high school asterisk. There's going to be kids that will potentially scholarship material or college material, and college is going to have to take gambles on them. It's just a lost year, and it's a big window that's been missed. And, you have your blue chippers, but there's a lot of kids that just develop a lot in the year. So it's going to be a big change for the recruiters and those kids. And you're not just talking football, you're talking every sport.
Yeah.
So it just, I have track kids that are on the bubble and then they don't get marks. And, then people are saying, look, we'll run meets in the summer. You can't really do that. And football is football. It's a certain dynamic that can only happen on the field in the game situation.
Right.
And Diner Blom here just made a point in the chat. It's also odd for draftees and incoming players this year because they can't practice with their new teammates. Since the draft's coming up this weekend or Thursday, these players who are drafted and new players can't practice like the rookie camps like past years.
Yeah, there's always something like we're saying that we never really thought about, but yeah, that makes sense. It's something it's usually a tradition, something with all new players, and now, like I feel like the Kings fans here know we're talking about like right when all this happened, the Kings prospect Alex Turcotte, who we've been hyped about for the last year. He signed with the team to play with our minor league team the day everything happened. So like he left his collegiate career, joined a professional team the day the quarantine went into effect. So he immediately went into like not even being like we're saying with the new team and all this kind of stuff. It's interesting. Not even interesting. It's just crazy. Like we're saying, like everything else.
I think DJ's just still bitter. He had free tickets to watch him play, and then they can't. He's
the
so
Sunday game against the Goals,
He's so pissed.
I had planned this like so perfectly. It would have just lined up exactly how I planned with my free tickets, and I don't get nothing now. Disappointing.
With this, you got to really look outside the box and sports resuming. So I would not be surprised if there's a pause button that we're on right now, and you're going to have to just say, you know what, nothing's starting, and we're going to start in December. We're going to start everything back up in January and squeeze it in and mesh it in, and then we'll get back on a normal routine in 21 and 22 and go like that. If we're so conditioned to these hard set dates in our mind, like football starts here, college games here, the Super Bowl's here, we might need to just push stuff back.
Yeah.
And and also from an entertainment perspective, how do Sports Channel handle that, right? Let's say everything started in October. You're going to have baseball. You're going to have football. You're going to have NASCAR. You're going to have hockey. How does Fox Sports West like delegate what they're going to show first or prime?
Everything at
any
once.
of those sports channels, ESPN or any of those guys, right? That's going to be wild for them.
Yeah.
I haven't turned on
Gonna be wild for
ESPN
them.
once in the last like 5 weeks. I don't even know what they're showing right now.
Oh wait, they're actually showing
basketball, horse, not good.
They're showing virtual games. They're showing
Last Dance.
Horse.
No, they're showing
They gotta
horse
they gotta start
racing.
doing ESPN the Ocho, man.
And they actually showed the damn spelling bee the other day. They had a spelling bee contest on there.
Or basically, do you like watching professional athletes play video games? Because if you do,
do.
I got something for you. Like,
I think what Kevin said is right on though. And I hate to say this as a baseball fan, and I know Dodgers is going to hate that up in the corner. I don't think they're playing baseball this year at all.
Oh,
And
no.
I hate to say that. There's
I
just
think
no
we
way
are.
they're going to play.
I don't think so.
I think the whole spring training, putting all the players in spring training, we're gonna find a way to do it.
Whether they play or not, what I think is definitely not going to happen. What LA was supposed to get was the damn All-Star game this year.
No, we're not having that.
That was supposed to be at Dodger Stadium. That was another thing, that would have been great to have here.
Well, at what point do you say as baseball, like, we can't play? Like, what's the minimum games you can play in a season of 162? I mean, do you go to 80?
80.
Even that, yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, it's almost like a strike, the strike seasons where they end up playing half a season, and that was our whole other argument I think we were having last week is like the legitimateness of a title won either in a special tournament because that's been thrown around like a special tournament style of a championship or a shortened season with a regular format. Like, yeah, it totally changes everything. And like baseball, like you're saying, baseball, the plan that Bustos is talking about was they wanted to, do a league in Arizona and have double headers, every day and like having every team or half the league in Arizona and the other half of the league. Yeah, like I'm not on board with that. And I think they interviewed Kershaw about that and he didn't seem like he was too on board about that idea either. So if the players are also, going against this plan, I could definitely see the season being lost this year. Which
This is where the Dodgers come and play because about a third of the players play, and the Dodgers will have the depth, so we'll be the favorites to win the World Series.
I heard an interesting baseball proposal on Twitter. I read it like a week or two ago. If this goes into the summer, that they play a 32 game season and everyone plays every other team in your division 8 times, and then the winner of each division makes the playoffs. And I thought about this from a logical perspective. Remember last year, the Seattle Mariners, who are god awful every year and finished dead last, but last year they started like 15-2.
Yeah,
they probably could have held on and won the division if it was a 32 game schedule.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. That one random hot team that you get every start of every baseball season is just gonna mess around and win a title.
No matter what it is, people are gonna be.
I think for basketball, I do like the idea of playing them all in Disney World and using that complex to have the season. That makes a total sense.
What? I didn't hear that one. What was?
So the plan was to put they have a complex called the ESPN Sports Complex. They have like 3 arenas, three little venues, which are vision capable. So they want to
for the season or for the playoffs?
For the playoffs.
So just start the playoffs at this ESPN complex?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just like I'm saying, uncharted territory. I could see where a lot of people would not be like, people would be happy that sports are back, but like I'm saying, people would be like, what, I guess it's something. Like you're
really batting about that idea. It'd probably be like a 3-5-5-7 series, not like the regular 7-game series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I have a question for everybody, actually.
Okay.
I hate to use the brick for the rose, for the rose painted window here, but all of this pushes us right back into flu season.
Mm-hmm.
And
right, yeah.
If we look at that and we say, hey, this thing pops its head again.
Oh yeah, that's another answer.
We could not have sports this year or next year.
Especially considering they talk about that second wave. You hear that mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've been talking about the Spanish flu, which you guys beforehand, about how it came back with a vengeance, like the next fall after the first wave.
Right. And the one thing that, and I'm again, you can't get enough of the coronavirus on news channels at this particular point.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't even watch news no more.
Yeah, the information today where they're doing, the testing for, the antibodies in the system. And they've just done a little bit of research to say that really this has only hit just in California about 4% of the population. which means that 95% of the population still hasn't come into contact with this at all.
Which is scary. Yeah.
Which is crazy, because if this is only 4%,
right.
Oh my God, what does that look like for the other 95%? And
Actually,
then now
interesting.
we're pushing ourselves back into 2021 at this particular point. And then, quite honestly, I don't know what that does for us socially as a country, economically as a country, let alone our extracurricular activities as far as our sports go,
Right.
you know, and as sports go for entertainment, and what it would do to the businesses.
Yeah, just the overall economy. Like we're saying, once again, that ripple effect. Like one thing affects so many more things on a bigger scale that you really don't understand when when everything's going fine. Like say 4 months ago, you would have never think about what effect a pandemic would have, not only on the economy and society and individuals and stuff like that, but well, one thing will affect everything else. The sports world just on pause, like we're saying, that's just our social. That's just like side stuff. That's not really like really important stuff. It's important to us, obviously, because we're obsessed with sports. But like on the big scale of things, it's not that important. But still, yeah, it is scary that the fact that this can continue on, like you're saying, into 2021, back into another flu season, or like those numbers, which that's a crazy number because it's they say it's all about flattening the curve. So that involves longer times of this quarantine and longer times of living the way we're living in. What we've been like 2 months in, if that, and you can already see in the news people are going crazy and people don't like being you know what I mean, under these orders, and like this is still early on. Like we got a lot of it to go. I feel like.
Thank God I found toilet paper though the other day. I was running low, guys. I was about to go to Big Nick's user bathroom and steal it from there. Actually,
one of the
you
big
gotta
roles.
buy something. You gotta buy something.
I'm actually interested in seeing if we can get these testing of how many of us actually had the coronavirus before this became a
right.
I probably did.
I know a lot of people that were I know a lot of people that were sick around November, December that were sick really bad.
Same here. I was one of them. Yeah, I got really
sick. Yes, I remember you did get sick.
I came back from the East Coast when they had just confirmed like one case in New York, and I was like in Jersey and in New York. And when I came back from vacation, I came back on a Wednesday, and then Thursday I had really bad sore throat, took a nap, woke up with a fever, a dry cough, and my body just ached like horribly. But I was like, oh, everybody's like, oh, it's the climate change or whatever. So I ignored it. But I had the
Ronas.
I'm trying to think.
I had the Ronas.
Did I see you during that time?
I was better like 3 days
that's
after.
that's why the 1 year anniversary was pushed back, because I was kind of not feeling good one day. I was not sure.
And we were just teasing you that you had coronavirus. Like, we didn't even think that was an actual possibility.
Right.
Who knows when this virus came in? It could have been last year when I was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's right.
There was a report too that a lot of Californians may have had it earlier in the year, like in December or something like that, and it may have gone undiagnosed at the time. So that's part of what the antibody test is about, as far as people who were sick, like in Alma's situation, being able to go and check if they previously had it. Which I wonder if those numbers come out and it is something that a lot of people have already recovered from. Does the restrictions ease up a little bit, or does that change as far as?
Well, we don't know. The reports are mixed. If you had it already, can you still get it? And I think you can still get it. You know,
this virus still mutates.
Yeah. And what they also stated in the news today, the governor, not the mayor, stated today in the news was that out of that result of determining that only 4% had it, they also determined that number of people who've come into contact with it or had it is way larger than what's being reported right now.
We want that to happen for the goodness of next year.
Yeah, because they're talking about I guess it's called herd immunity, right?
Yeah.
But it has to be, in order for it to get in order for it to reach that status of herd immunity, they were saying that it had to be over 60% of the population has to come in contact with it. But if you're talking, this is doing what it's doing right now with just 4%.
4%,
I
right?
don't want to see 60%.
Right.
Yeah.
I look at what's going on. You know, my mom was. We have cousins in Italy, and I have a friend in northern Italy, and they've been on lockdown now, like hardcore lockdown for almost 60 days.
Oh wow!
And like they can't leave their house.
And that's
Wow.
And if they're gonna go to the market, they have to like call and get permission to go.
Oh wow!
Italy's a lot smaller country than the United States. They don't have as big of major cities as the United States, with the exception of Rome. But I mean, they're on 60 days and it's starting to go down. But how long would it take here? This is a different ball game here. Los Angeles, New York, these are major metropolises.
Yeah. And
I'm putting this in perspective though too. The size of Italy is the size of California.
Right.
So if the numbers are very similar to California and Italy, you could see the thing. Like if you ever, because I was a history major in college when I went to the degree, so I the last couple of months been looking at numbers. Like Italy and California, like the rates right now are about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're talking about coming back into play the next couple of weeks, maybe California's in play. Maybe all these other countries are in play.
Has Italy had any of the second wave that they mentioned?
No, not yet.
Are they still?
But Italy's got the whole country on lockdown.
Right.
You can't go to Italy right now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can come into California.
It's going to be region by region.
Who were at the beach this weekend, you know,
Right, yeah.
protesting. Like,
Yeah, I don't get that.
yeah, it's crazy. And I think that DJ mentioned it earlier where he was talking about, you know, flattening the curve. And I think that a lot of people don't understand exactly. And to DJ's point is that flattening the curve does not get rid of the virus.
Right.
All it does is prolong the period of time, and we're managing the outbreak so we don't overload our healthcare system, you know, but it's not stopping. So if we let this thing rip through the population, we wouldn't be able to control it. There'd be a lot more death. So the stay-at-home order is really just to manage it so we can manage it from a healthcare perspective, but the virus is going to do what it does. So instead of rip through for 3 months and killing a whole bunch of people, we're saying, hey, we're going to manage it and let it rip through over the course of 4 to 5 months so we can manage it a little bit better.
And that's why people are that's why governors and all these states are decide, we think we can manage the situation now with the many people that already came in.
And honestly, right now,
trying to open up stuff.
I feel like Florida is our science experiment. And they're opening their beaches, they're going on with their lives and living their thing. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see soon enough how that works. If Florida has a big spike again and it's an issue that comes back, and then I feel that's going to result in other states seeing like, hey, you know, this isn't working right away. We got to stay like cooking a good steak low and slow, just like, you know what I mean? It's going to keep on. It's not going to be easy, but you just gotta do it. Like it's.
Yeah, look at it as far as where it broke out at least, you know, they've come back and said the reports in China have not been accurate, but we do know that they were at least locked down for roughly about 80 days or so, right?
Right.
So we got locked down on March 16th, okay? So we're a month into this right now.
And people are going crazy right now.
And they're going
crazy.
So technically you look and say China was locked down for nearly 90 days, right? And we're just a month in. So if we have to measure ourselves against any stick, you know, I would say the China stick would be the best one to measure it against. And if that's the case, we've already killed schools. So that takes us from, you know, you call April 16th, May 16th, June 16th, and that puts us at 3 months right there in the middle of June.
Right.
And the thing with it is that the other thing that accompanies DJ's point earlier with the curve is that it's like a roller coaster, right? It's going to take its time to tick up to the top, but it doesn't necessarily just drop straight down. And even if it does start to drop immediately, that still takes time for it to come down on the other end. How long is that? Right?
I mean,
that's
on history a year.
Yeah. Is that a month? Is that another 2 months? Does this thing look like the whole cycle is a 4 to 6 month process for it to come through, peak up, and come down? It's a whole lot of There's a whole lot of unanswered questions that we're learning in real time that are impacting lives. And I think a lot of these decisions that are being made to open up parks, open up beaches, and open some things back up is driven by money. I understand.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's going to be a lot of home workouts that everyone's going to have to start doing, man. You know, a lot of, you know, especially for you guys as athletes, you guys as students and things like that.
Yeah, big time, man. So it's interesting.
It's like how do even professional sports athletes train like that, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of them have, you know, they can afford their own personal gyms and stuff like that. But, you know, how do you do it as a team, like we mentioned earlier? You can't practice with your team. A lot of these are team sports.
Look at the horse competition. Look at where most of these players did the shots. They had to do in their backyard in their makeshift basketball court.
Yeah. Well, like we're saying, there's so many question marks for us, and I feel like every episode we come in, there's even more that we're like, well, what's gonna happen with this, and what's gonna happen with this, and we keep saying like only time will tell. But yeah, at a certain point, you know, I guess it'll start figuring itself out. The question is just at this point when, and like you're saying, how long? At what point do we figure it out? Is it still gonna be another month like this, another 2 months like this, or we? Like you said, gonna go into next year.
The real question is, how much are we willing to risk people's health for the benefit of the country?
Right.
Yeah, and that's already been a problem the way it is. Like what people consider essential workers. You know what I'm saying? Like those people are already risking their health for the sake of, you know, everybody else, for the sake of, you know, the greater good of the society. And like these people who are exposing themselves obviously are in a situation where they most likely have to. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they have the luxury of, you know, making that choice. They're in a situation where they need to work and they don't get the basically like a 2-month vacation like everybody else basically is on right now. And once that starts to grow and other people are, you know, are subject to the same things, we'll see how as a society everyone reacts to that. Once you're put in an uncomfortable situation, or now you have to go out there and be in this, you know what I mean, in this world. Like an example I'm going to use right now is Tommy. He's right here with baby Zach. I don't know if you guys can see. New dad.
Hey, Johnny Hecker Sotelo.
He works for UPS, right? And he's been on paternity leave. So, you know, his paternity leave will become, you know, ending soon, and he has to now go back as a UPS worker, an essential worker, and put himself out now, you know, into the
I go
elements.
back to work next Monday.
Next Monday, going back out there and like, you know, going to houses and, you know what I mean, that whole thing. And like, he's been lucky, obviously, because during this pandemic, he's had his paternity leave, but you know, that's something as an essential worker. Now he has to go and put himself out there. And like you had said, like, it's unfortunate that certain people have to do that, and like people have to put themselves in that situation. Overall, like for him just to as a job and as a work and stuff like that for him, that other people who I wouldn't say make the decision aren't in that situation or don't have to feel those kind of things or don't have to, you know, it's hard to relate to him. If like for me, I'm at home, it's hard for me to relate for him or knowing he has to go out there and do this kind of thing. And once people can, you know, start relating to each other, I hope like the right decisions get made as far as like the course of action going forward, because it's unfair for certain people, you know, having to be in that situation.
Both for Tommy and Christian, right? Christian worked for the Metro, and he's out there
right now.
Metro
he's
Link,
working right now. Yeah, we're working out there.
I'm done. No, I've been done for a while now, but I'm doing the broadcast here because the Wi-Fi at this station is amazing.
Yeah, my question of Tommy as an essential worker out there. Thank you for doing what you do, Tommy. As an essential worker, what do you feel about the Rams' new logo?
I don't know. I mean,
I had to throw that in there.
I mean, I don't know. I only have one logo. I only have one logo in my eyes, but you know. Well, yeah, I hate your question. I hate your question.
I had to throw Tommy in there. I haven't heard from Tommy all night. So.
Yeah. Right click me.
Kick me out. But yeah, guys, I want to thank everybody who, you know, all you guys who have called in and or like I guess zoomed in. I don't know what the proper term is for this, but everyone who's joining us today on this podcast. It's something new. We're trying to, you know, incorporate more guests, and I appreciate all of your guys' you know, the perspective from you guys, how it affects all of you individually and stuff like that, and obviously like people like I'm saying can relate more when there's you're seeing it from other points of view and how it's affecting like us too as Hooligan Sports as a shirt company. It affects us too. We're a sports based business. We're a business that's completely off of all the local teams and local sports. So when you take sports out of our equation as a business, it gets tough. It gets real. You're just like it's a clothing brand, so it's not necessarily essential, but it makes it throws a curveball at us that nobody was
Oh yeah.
expecting. You know what I'm saying? It makes it different. So hearing other situations and how others are coping with it, how they're the long term effects that you guys not only see but are going to be aware of and trying to fix and helping out. It's a good thing for us, and like I'm saying, I appreciate everybody who spent their time tonight with us. Um, Thanks to Alma. I know you've been here. This is your second episode, so shout out to you. Shout out to
Thank you.
Christian, who's calling us from the Arctic Hub. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What is it? Arctic?
Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, Arctic.
There we go.
Jesus.
For
I just
those
want- I had to go
for
Arctic.
those who don't know where it's located, it's literally smack dab in between Angel Stadium and Honda Center.
And Christian's gonna be cursing out Angel Stadium and the Honda Center as he does after every shift at work.
So usually what we do whenever we have somebody on, we let them promote business, personal Instagram, whatever you want to get out there, you want the people to see. We'll post it also in the description on this video later, but we'll go one by one between you guys. If there's anything you want to promote, whatever, this is your guys' time to shine. We'll start with Jamar if you want to lead us.
Oh, nothing to promote. Thank you guys for having me, and I'm definitely a fan of the show. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you again
Right.
for coming through. What about you, Kevin? Anything?
Nothing from me as well. Thank you so much. This was a great experience, a lot of fun. Anytime I can hang out and talk sports with anybody, it's a good time.
Thank
Especially-
you.
And being in social media, Kev, you're probably going to be cool to the girls right now, knowing that Dad is on YouTube Live right now. That's big with the kids right now.
And lastly, we got John. I know you got Big Nick's Pizza, but you can promote that website, anything. Your time.
Yeah, well, on Facebook at Big Nick's Pizza, Instagram Big Nick's Pizzeria. Just want to let you guys know we're open every day, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. We're practicing safety times 10 here. Everyone's got masks. Everyone's got gloves. We're here, and we've been getting a lot of calls. Thank you. We've been getting a lot of calls, actually, people donating or saying, I want to buy dinner for hospital workers. So we've actually been to hospitals a lot the last 2 weeks, making sure these frontline people are getting fed. And that's really
awesome.
shows the generous of people and how they come together in hard times.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Big Nick's
Nick's
Pizzeria for
Pizza,
everyone.
the official pizza of the Hooligan Sports Podcast.
And right,
Pizza of the podcast.
is there a Rico? Don't you have like a custom pizza, or what do you have?
We have the TTU pizza down at Big Nick's. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
TTU pizza, what is it?
Team Turn Up Pizza.
No, I know, but
what's on it? Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
it's special ingredients. Only got
Like, I'm
buffalo
not a-
cheese on buffalo mozzarella cheese, some Canadian bacon because we're a hockey fan base.
I guess the next time we're at the studios, we gotta order some food from Big Nick's Pizza to tailgate.
Yes,
Yeah, once the
please.
quarantine's over, we're for sure gonna have a episode with Big Nick's
Rico,
live,
we'll give you the
live
money.
in studio.
Rico,
we
we'll
can
give
do
you
it
the
live
money. You
show
can
here.
bring it over to the studio.
There
We'll
we go.
try Big Nick's Black Seth Rogen special, which is
Black Seth.
Oh God.
incredibly large amounts of pepperoni. That's it.
Wow.
Jesus
More
Christ.
pepperoni than humanly possible.
Tommy, do you got anything to promote, Tommy?
UPS. He's like,
Not
no.
looking forward to going back. I'm not looking forward. But to the two high school coaches, I'm gonna reach out to both of you because I'm passionate about football. I pay attention to the game, and that's something I really would look forward to doing later in life
That's
when I
our
retire.
Ram super fan right there.
Like not now, like later.
He's
when
our
I
resident football
retire.
expert on the show.
He is gonna
Yes.
bring. He's gonna give you. He's gonna bless you guys with the gospel of Johnny Hecker.
The good word. Christian, you want to plug something?
DJ knows what I want to plug at the very end of the show.
Wow. Hey, Christian.
That sounded really bad.
You need to plug our other sponsor.
No. He knows what advertisement I'm gonna plug at the very
So we
end.
want you to do the other sponsors. Our main sponsor.
Our main sponsor? Okay, guys, we have to do this once every episode. Our main sponsor, shout out. Bring us home, Christian.
Shout out to Rose Cremations in the city of Bellflower. Taking care of your loved ones every time with love and care. Think about tomorrow. Today.
There we go. Every time. So yeah, that was our main sponsor. Alma, you got anything you want to promote?
I'm like, I don't know if I can, because you guys are a shirt company too, but I'm wearing
no other shirt company.
There you go. But
we're a one shirt company kind of
Better
podcast.
not be VG. Better not be VG shirt company.
We're a one shirt company kind of podcast.
You guys can follow me on Twitter. I'm a little bit more active on there at Alma_182. And I just want to say, like, to everybody that's still working, whether you're working from home or you're out there working, like, thanks for being essential, I guess.
Yes, definitely. That's so many thank yous for everybody. Essential
Where she
workers,
spreads
nurses.
the gospel of Timo Meyer.
Is that
what?
What?
Shut up.
Nothing.
and of course all the first responders also, the ones who doing all this hard work, like I'm saying, when the rest of us are just at home and playing video games. Bored.
Yep.
I'm working. I'm not playing video games.
Are you at work right now at this exact moment?
Yeah, I clocked in at 9. So
yeah, because she had told me before the episode started, she's like, midway through the podcast, I gotta go to work and I gotta clock in.
I thought she was driving to work. She just like moved rooms or something.
And if you guys gotta go back to work in the next couple of weeks because a lot of opens, make sure everyone stay and follow the 6 feet
social distance,
social distance, and all that stuff.
I'm gonna go hug all my customers as soon as I see them.
And if you guys need PGA golf lessons, please see Bustos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
There's a chance I might have to go back to work in the next couple.
Bustos, plug your PGA.
Golf courses are trying to open up again.
Josh Bustos certified golf lessons.
Hey, well, I'm gonna go check out Big Nick's Wednesday, right? The draft is Wednesday, right?
Thursday.
Thursday.
I'm coming to order food.
I guess I'll have to turn the TV on for that.
Just like a private booth, just for one.
Wait, real quick, you mentioned golf. Does anyone think golf totally dropped the ball here on ratings? They could play golf. It's just one guy.
Well, the problem is with golf.
He's our golf expert.
Getting everyone there. And the tee times you could have 3 of the group.
Just and one camera with a tripod pointed
well,
at
that's
the
problem. It's having the cameras and all the other stuff.
Yep.
Well, they're supposed to open up in June.
Ventura County,
Ventura
County opened up their golf courses, I was hearing.
And then Riverside, just about 2 hours ago, announced they're opening up their golf courses. So I could go back to work any day.
I guess we're going to go to Riverside then, Bustos, because I need my golf.
I know a couple people in Riverside.
I just want to drive a golf cart, that's all.
Walking only.
Rico, anything you want to promote?
No, man, I just want to thank everyone for joining in. Big Nick's, good food for Jay for joining in, and Kevin, man, appreciate you guys. And if I guess if I'm gonna promote something, hit us up. Call of Duty. Me and Jay are always playing that.
There you go.
We're about to start we got to start a esports team too, DJ, with Rocket League. So
that's where I come.
Hit us up, man.
I'm gonna bring Tommy with me.
And then anyone in the future who's listening who wants to join us or promote a business, just DM one of us.
Yeah, for sure. Next episode, same thing. We want to have a whole panel of guests talking about everything going right now. At this point, we're just talking about everything going on in this crazy world.
I do have something to shout out. I actually do have something to shout out.
LA Kings Dreams.
LA Kings Dreams, yes. Love those guys. Those
LA Royal Army.
And the Royal
Army.
Right now,
Team Turn Up.
I got my Dodger gear on. I want to give a shout out to Randy Radcliffe and the folks at Dodger Yard. They're actually starting a podcast pretty soon, so I want to send my.
So we got a new rival?
Huh?
Man,
we got a rival now.
Everyone's promoting the
Dodger Yard. they're a Dodgers fan, like social, site, and they're gonna be doing a podcast.
I'm just joking. I'm saying we have a new rival now because they're on podcast too.
Oh,
I can't wait till we all get back together so they can fight for real.
Yeah,
I know.
Also, I want to give a shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat for everyone joining in, from Nami to Trayvon.
Yeah, there's a lot of
there.
people.
There's a lot of folks on. Daniel Lotto's on there. Augie. So yeah, thank you guys for joining in on that.
So yeah, guys.
Rico, I'm getting ready.
What's
that?
Know. Oh man, look at that! You know what's past my bedtime, Tommy, so I won't be able to play you tonight.
Getting ready.
We're gonna broadcast it.
I gotta practice NHL still, man.
We gotta talk about getting a Hooligan PS4.
Yes, Bustos. Use your
I play
stimulus package.
I only use NHL 94 controls. Just throwing this out there.
He's got 2 buttons. You got 2 buttons.
hey, that's all I know, man. That's all I know.
Well, like I said, thanks everybody for stopping by. Everybody who's watching hanging out. We do episodes every Monday at 8 o'clock. So if you aren't already subscribing, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. It helps,
support your local hooligans.
Support your local hooligans. And and until next week, this is the Hooligan Sports Podcast. Thank you again, Christian.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.